Hi everybody, it's Dave Altavilla for HotHardware.com here with the hot off the press Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon Ultrabook. This is Lenovo's hot new 14-inch Ultrabook machine based on and built on carbon fiber material for its shell and internal roll cage, believe it or not. So super thin and super light, 0.31 inches thick here in the front, 0.71 inches thick here in the rear at its thickest point, and it weighs in at just 3 pounds. It is built with traditional ThinkPad quality. With it, you get a standard AC adapter, of course, as well as this gigabit Ethernet and USB dongle. Because the machine is so thin, you actually can't get a full-size Ethernet port to fit in the side of the chassis, but you get this dongle to go with it. Let's take a look around the all-new Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon and show you what this lightweight beauty is made of. All right, so the ThinkPad Carbon X1 that we received in for testing was driven by an Intel 3rd generation Ivy Bridge Core i5 3427U dual-core processor clocked at 1.8 gigahertz with 3 meg of on-chip shared L3 cache. Also, the machine came configured with 4 gig of DDR1333 system memory, although you can get the machine configured with up to 8 gig of onboard system memory as well. The disk drive subsystem was a 128 gig SATA 3 SSD by SanDisk, but you can get up to 256 gig SSD options in the machine as well. Sound is courtesy of Dolby Home Theater version 4. And integrated communications, you've got Ethernet via USB dongle, we showed you that, as well as Intel Centrino Advanced N6205S wireless radio based on Intel Centrino 802.11n Wi-Fi technology. Bluetooth 4.0 is on board here, as well as optional 3G WAN connectivity. Let's take a look around at ports and I/O options. Actually, before we do that, Lenovo claims that the ThinkPad X1 Carbon is essentially 14 inches of Ultrabook and a 13-inch form factor. So we're going to go ahead and try and prove that out for you here. I am placing on top a 13.3-inch Intel Ultrabook Whitebook. This is the sort of plain vanilla machine that Intel sent us for the Ivy Bridge mobile launch. And it is a 13.3-inch form factor for sure, 13.3-inch screen. And as you can see, it is actually almost the exact same dimensions, width and depth as the ThinkPad Carbon X1. The only thing you see here are these rounded corners for the Intel Whitebook that the more squarish corners of the ThinkPad Carbon X1 sort of stick out beneath. But other than that, essentially, Lenovo is correct in that the ThinkPad Carbon X1 does compete with a standard 13.3-inch Ultrabook form factor, although it has a 14-inch screen. Also, we would note that the rubberized coating on the top surface here is actually really nice, resists fingerprints almost completely, so yay for that. On the left edge of the machine is the AC adapter power port. Interestingly enough, USB style press fit connector, sort of an interesting design there. Additional venting here on the side of the chassis, USB 2 port and a wireless on-off switch. And on the right edge of the ThinkPad Carbon X1, we've got an SD card slot, a headphone jack, DisplayPort, USB 3 port, and a Kensington lock port. The hinge mechanism is very solid and fortunately allows the display to swing completely down flat. So wide range of motion there, and allows for a lot more viewing angles available with the machine as a result of that. So really like to see that. Again, fully extending hinge mechanism for the lid. All right, so here we are on the bottom of the ThinkPad Carbon X1, and we have to point out a little bit of a gotcha. We're used to and accustomed to these days this weight class of machine, the ultra thin and light notebook, coming without a user serviceable battery. So you can see that here, no access to remove a battery and replace it. However, what you don't see in the bottom as well is a door to get access to the system's DIMM slots, the SODIMM or system memory, DDR3 memory on board. This machine came configured with a 4 gig DDR3 system memory setup in a single SODIMM slot. So if you want to upgrade the memory, you can't just pop another 4 gig stick in. You have to pull the 4 gig stick and drop in an 8 gig stick. And to do that, you have to remove each of these screws and get access to the bottom of the system by pulling the bottom skins off. Not the easiest thing to do by any stretch of the imagination unless you're a savvy user, and the factory does not recommend it. What's even a little bit more puzzling is that Lenovo decided to go with a single channel setup, one SODIMM slot, because of the size of the system, maybe perhaps, is only available in this. So they're running single channel DDR3, which robs some of the system memory bandwidth. We've seen many Ultrabooks with dual channel setups to get that full memory bandwidth, and it may hamper performance a little bit in some of the tests, and we'll be taking a look at that in our full review. But the keyboard area of the ThinkPad Carbon X1, that's where this machine really excels. This is a ThinkPad. Lenovo ThinkPads have historically offered some of the best typing experiences in notebooks that we've ever tested, hands down, and the ThinkPad Carbon X1 is no exception. The keyboard area is spacious, comfortable, and these shaped keycaps, Lenovo calls them smile-shaped keycaps, actually cradle your fingertips a little bit and are very forgiving with keystroke errors, and so very comfortable typing experience. We can fly on this keyboard. It's backlit, that's great. And also very large multi-gesture touchpad area as well, with 3-button mouse control, and of course the patented Think nub here for mousing around if you prefer that. Also, the display in the ThinkPad Carbon X1 is again a gorgeous piece of equipment. You've got a 14-inch display with a 1600 by 900 resolution. It is not a glossy display. It is a flat, matte finished display, anti-glare, and really nice viewing angles, sharp contrasts, and really good image quality and color saturation. So very pleased with both the display and keyboard area on the ThinkPad Carbon X1. And once again, yay for a backlit keyboard. You really, just nice to have that feature finally in an Ultrabook. And finally, here we are running PC Mark 7, which is one of the standard benchmarks that we use here at HotHardware. And the ThinkPad X1 Carbon is going to score somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5,200, which is about on par with the average 13 or 14-inch Ultrabook that we've tested in the market these days. In terms of battery life, Lenovo claims 7 hours of untethered uptime is possibly available with this machine. We will prove that out in our own testing. But also they have rapid charge technology on board, which allows the AC adapter to charge the battery to about 80% capacity, for example, in only as little as 35 minutes. So impressive technology there for quick charging that battery on board. In terms of price, as configured, our system came in at $1499 with a Core i5-3427U processor and that 128 gig SSD. You can configure down to about as low as $1399 for the lowest end SKU with a Core i5-3317U processor, or the high-end SKU all the way up to $1849 for a Core i7-3667U enabled machine with a 256 gig SSD. So some options there. It is a premium priced Ultrabook, but we would offer that it is also a very premium built Ultrabook as well. Really nice machine. Come check out the full review with all the benchmark details. I'm Dave Altavilla with the ThinkPad X1 Ultra Carbon. Stop on by HotHardware, and thanks for stopping by.